With FirstClass Web Services 12.0.112 and later, and FirstClass Server 12.1287 or later, you can trust an account and use that account to request and use a login ticket to log in as one of the other users on your system. This means that you can potentially build very robust applications that use the API to gather information or update information for a group of users, so long as you have a trusted account and you know the login IDs of the accounts you wish to retrieve the information for. Of course, this is an extremely powerful feature, and FirstClass has a number of security checks that can be implemented to protect the privacy of your users. Be sure to read the full documentation on how to activate a trusted account and how you can implement security measures. An SSO API Inspector tool has been developed to assist developers in understanding how the ticket request works and to get started in building their own applications. A trusted user logs in and makes a request for a login ticket and then can use this login ticket to log in as that user. In our code for the SSO API Inspector, we see that when we click on Login with Ticket, the SSO trusted account logs in using the getTicket function. If the login is successful as a trusted account, the ticket is then issued and used to call the Login with Ticket function, and the remainder of the functionality of this application is exactly the same as the API Inspector tool. We can see this in operation here. With the SSO API Inspector tool, we can enter the credentials of the trusted user account and the user ID for an account for which we want a ticket. I'll bring up the session monitor for the server, and I'm displaying the Chrome developer tools here on the right. When I click on Login with Ticket, we see that the trusted user logs in and makes the request for the ticket. Once the ticket is received, it requests a login for the user and logs it in. Once logged in as our user, we can use the DocSetViewer tool to get the syntax for API calls just as we do with the API Inspector tool. For all intents and purposes now, we are logged in as Joe and the API calls are as Joe. So here we can request the known objects, session info, and indeed we see that we have the information for Joe returned. If we want to request a ticket and log in as another user, we first have to log off as the existing user. Note that the trusted account does not get logged off, only the ticket account. When we make a request for another ticket, the same functions are executed. The same session for the trusted user is used, as this account is still logged in. There is no way to log the trusted user off, and the session for this account will expire as per your server settings. The ticket that is received can also be used directly as a browser URL to log in using the FCWS client. If we look at the login call that was used for the API, we can copy this and log out as the user in the SSO Inspector. We can now bring up a new browser window, or in fact a different browser like Firefox, and paste the URL into that field. We see that the get is very simple, just FC ticket followed by the ticket, and if we submit it before the ticket expires, we get a login to the server. As I mentioned at the outset, this is a very powerful feature, so if you activate an account to use this feature, you must take appropriate security precautions as outlined in the documentation.